VCR Redux will begin in T-5 minutes.
What the fart is VCR Redux?
It's the show where we take movies from the VCR era and bring them back to today.
Well, how do we do that?
Well, we start by talking about a VHS classic, and usually you'll say something like,
I haven't been this uncomfortable since I watched Meatballs 4, Meatballs to the Rescue with my parents. Oh yeah, or you'll say something stupid like,
I wish we lived in a world where the Garbage Pail Kids made as many movies as the Muppets.
but I know you'll always see it through with a positive attitude.
I hate this movie, I hate being here, I hate all of this. Oh, Jamie Kennedy. Oh, well, shit. Well, let's go for this.
He was in Son of Mask. This is genius.
I am not a gamer. I'd rather read books. I'm just
Ian's like the old lady that's like, I got video game monsters, I got movie monsters in here.
As long as we respect the passion and the artistry that went into these films.
You know, obviously they took this movie, it's 93, right? You're like, what do you want to see in your Mario movie? And they're like, oh, we want it to be grim, we want a lot of death, we want tits and ass.
Oh, and then we start the pitch ideas with modern day sequels like
Weekend at Bernie's 3, Cocaine Mountain.
Sometimes we take it kinda seriously.
I'll watch a Paul Verhoeven alien movie.
oh my gosh, that alien will have more vaginas than anything you've ever seen in your life. Sometimes this Hawaiian shirted fool will pitch something stupid like,
I would take out the virtual reality stuff and just have it be about Jeff Fahey mowing the lawn.
Sometimes the best pitches come from the live chat.
Alex Bonafonte also pitches Grand Theft Starfighter Vice Galaxy.
wait, I thought I had the best pitches.
And what happens at the end of the movie? The ultimate fart. The fart that the warmth goes like all the way down to your socks.
The only rules are, there are no rules. Sometimes we cross over franchises.
Only the truck from Tango and Cash can kill Christine.
And sometimes we travel back in time.
Like 1995 is missing a good Universal Soldier sequel.
But you never know what we're gonna pitch next.
What do you want? Do you want Daniel Stern behind like a muzzled mask? Like,
We all know it should be Pesci behind the mask, and like underneath the mask, you should hear him going like fritter, 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 fritter.
you are so proud of yourself for that one. I can't stand you.
I would also love to see a Charles Bronson version of It's a Wonderful Life.
What?
Direct to DVD.
If you made a shot-for-shot remake of Scarface with Goofy as Al Pacino, it would be amazing. Dorsey, you need me to be the bad guy.
It's like the worst 1987 Disney movie Disney's ever made. Schlongo, directed by Jim Wynorski.
Like, I would watch a whole bowl of that.
Do the John Holmes story. Add a comedy spin to it.
Wow, the Wonderland murders are so funny.
I'd watch it on my mobile.
Something happens and he goes into a coma. He gets like, hit by a car or something. I know this is dark, but like, bear with me. He's got to go on.
Did you just go like Hard to Kill with Ferris Bueller?
I'd watch it on my iPad.
If you want to just like throw in the kitchen sink, I mean, it all works. Like Alien versus Predator versus RoboCop, like if that works. Alien versus Predator versus Terminator, that works.
Alien versus Predator versus Ernest, that works.
That works.
I respect everything you just said. I need David Silver and Terry Silver and the Sloan family all learning the Quicksilver, but they're doing it in Breakin' 3 Hydraulic Boogaloo. And it's underwater. It's gonna be incredible. Eat your fucking shit out, James Cameron. I got the underwater movie you can't touch.
That was the most disgusting thing I've ever heard in my life.
Mr. Toxie Goes to Washington.
My ass would be in the theater tomorrow.
If Harley Quinn gets 7 movies, then Tank Girl should get at least 70.
That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard of in my life.
I mean, why should we even bother with Look Who's Talking when Air Bud is soaring to new highs?
All I know is I want Danny McBride.
I'd want him doing anything other than writing Halloween movies, honestly. Anything that keeps him away from that fucking job, I'm for it.
Just let him talk out of his butt. I don't care how he does it.
I'd rather not.
Austin Powers doing the Macarena.
That would be the opening credits. Come on.
But we have not yet had Die Hard on a half pipe. What if John McClane Jr. was a pro skateboarder and also an avid machine gun enthusiast? Skate or Die Hard.
host. What up, virtual people? Welcome to the 169th episode of VCR Redux, where we take your favorite franchises out of the analog era and bring them back to 2024. I'm your host, pop culture punk Chris Stiles, and even though Professor Klink's been beckoned away by Broadway, the third leg of our VCR tripod himself, Mac Daddy Mickey Torres, is co-hosting tonight.
What's up, everyone?
And back on the VCR Playhead, host of the soon-to-launch Still Fabulous, Bobby Master is on the show tonight.
Hey.
And tonight's guest is one that needs no introduction. But for those of you in the cheap seats, she is a legend of 90s pop culture who's appeared in everything from Baywatch and Beverly Hills 90210 to Boy Meets World and the Babysitters Club. Natanya Ross is on the show.
Hi, what an intro.
We are not worthy. Thank you so much for coming on.
Of course, my pleasure. Thank you.
This is such an honor. We are here today to wrap our way through our scholastic struggles, to burst Ellen Burstyn's botanical bubble, and to treat diabetes like it's full-blown AIDS. That's right, folks. This world needs the Babysitters Club too, and we're here to give it to you. But before we get down with BSC, we got a dish on how the Babysitters Club came into our lives and what we love about it. And of course, that goes double for you at home and everyone watching the live chat. Was it Love at First Laserdisc, Vital VHS? Hit us up in the chat and let us know how the Babysitters Club came into your lives. So Natanya, what is your first memory of either the project itself or of the prestigious Babysitters Club franchise?
Oh, wow. What a question. Well, I had read the Babysitters Club books when I was a kid. So, excuse me, I was very familiar, and I watched the television series as well. I don't know if you guys remember the TV series.
Oh, yeah.
For like a couple years, I think. And I was doing a film. Sorry, I'm a little sick still. That's why I sound like this.
Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry.
I was doing a film before I did Babysitters Club, and the director of that film was the director of Babysitters Club. So when we were on set, she kept telling me, and Marla, who ended up being in the film with me, who was my best friend, and we met on this film, this first film. It was Freaky Friday, the middle edition, the middle one. And yeah, she said, I have parts for you guys. You're going to play this person. You're going to play that person. And they said I was going to be playing Dawn. And, you know, that's just Hollywood. You know, you think one thing's happening. And then Marla and I went into audition. Even though we were told we were going to be in it. And of course we ended up being the bad girls as opposed to. So that's my first kind of memory of it, I suppose. Yeah.
I feel like that's almost cooler though, to be like one of the bad girls though, you know. It's a rare like crew to be in. There's only 3 of the bad girls. There's like a whole slew of the Babysitters Club. So
yeah, I mean, and all these years later it ended up definitely being much cooler to be those, you know, characters than it was back then. So
wow. So Melanie Mayron really just kind of planted you in this though.
Yes.
Like she was just like, all right, I like you. You're coming along to this next, you know, you're coming along to the next one.
We didn't, like, even at that time in our careers, we weren't auditioning, you know, it was like come straight to final call, screen test, director call. Yeah. So I wasn't like in 5 auditions with thousands of girls. And then, you know, they basically just brought us in to meet the producers, do a couple screen tests, and like right then and there we had the parts. So wow. Yeah.
Well, I mean, that part doesn't surprise me that you didn't have to audition, of course. But I kind of always imagined that because of Larissa's involvement, I was like, oh, well, this must have been like they got the Alex Mack team in this, and like, yeah, give me the people from Alex Mack. Let's get some of them in here. And,
yeah.
So we were also, you know, showing
do that together.
And obviously showing my hat as a 90s Nick fanatic as well. And I'm sure there's stories, you know, I could ask for days. But I don't want to like hog the mic too much a little bit. I'm curious at what point did Mickey and Bobby get into these, you know, the Babysitters Club or the show or the books or whatever, you know? Was it the books? Oh, well, this is Mickey right here. And that's Bobby
Mickey
right there.
Bobby. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I thought you were talking about characters in the movie. I'm like, I have no idea.
Wait a minute, it's been a minute. Yeah, well, there's a million characters in the movie,
I don't remember them in the movie. I'm so sorry, Mickey and Bobby. Yes, go ahead.
You know, I think we talked about this a little bit. Like, you know, for me, was introduced to the shows at first. I remember watching them, I think, on like HBO or something like that.
Yeah, I think it was
And
HBO. Yeah.
yeah, and I would watch them all the time because I was like, I always loved watching, you know, teen kind of movie, shows or anything based in that world. I'm a little older, but I still loved watching that kind of stuff for some reason. I don't know why.
Yeah.
But it was always cool. And then like, recently I watched the movie for the first time, which was cool to watch it for the first time and just remember that time period because, like I said, I'm older, so when the one character is talking about going to the Smashing Pumpkins concert, I'm like, yeah, I went to that concert.
Totally.
Oh man, that's classic. I can relate to that. I feel like, I mean, when I saw the movie, I was in 6th grade, spoiler alert, we'll get to that. But I was probably a little bit older than the target demographic. But I
Yeah.
was still like, oh, this is so my jam. I don't even care. But Bobby, was was it the books for you or was it the show? Like, what was your gateway drug into the Babysitters Club?
It was also the TV show, the HBO series. I had like a bunch of like VHS tapes of that. But also like I didn't see this until like the early 2000s. It came out when I was like 4 years old. And like by the
Oh, that's
time I
fair.
saw this, like all of the like up and coming actors in the film had already like made a name for themselves. So I was
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
oh, there's Josie from Josie and the Pussycats, Robin and Alex Mack in the same movie, like Marla, I know her from Full House. So it's like
Full
I know
House,
all
yeah.
these Stacey Lynn Ramsauer, she was in Tank Girl. So
Mhm.
Yes, oh, I love Tank Girl.
So,
You even
like,
got I mean, it is like the 90s All-Star game because you've even got Austin O'Brien from Last Action Hero, you like
Yes,
even the older
yes.
cast too, like
My Girl too.
Colleen,
He was also in My Girl too.
of course, yeah,
And
legendary
here
My
he
Girl.
was.
I'll give you guys a fun fact. He was also actually my first boyfriend in life ever. He was my
Oh
first
wow.
and we started dating on that set.
Aw.
What? Oh my God,
Nice.
my mind is blown right now.
So
Did you
as
guys go to the
much as
Smashing Pumpkins concert?
we did not, but I actually 2 years ago ended up going with Larissa to the Smashing Pumpkins concert.
Oh, nice.
So that was like a
Aw.
full circle
Yeah,
moment for us.
full circle moment.
It really was. But yeah, Austin and I met like the first day of filming because the first day we all filmed together was like the stables scenes, the horses, and yeah, it was just kind of like young lust at first sight, I suppose. And there were
Aw.
so many girls, obviously. And I think a part of me was like, oh my God, you picked me.
Yeah.
That was part of it, but it was like true young love. And then yeah, at the rap party for the Babysitters Club, we did it at a bowling alley in Burbank, and everybody was there, and it was this beautiful, fun rap party, and we kissed in the parking lot. And that was my first kiss. And then we stayed together for like 2 months after that, and then it was over. And
Aw.
and then
That's
I
so
went on to date.
adorable.
Then I went on to date like every other young, beautiful, famous Hollywood boy there was. So yeah.
Well, I think yeah, you've stuck with it too. You're still on that train. You're just
Yeah,
so,
girl.
Oh, you mean my
just-
boyfriend now?
yeah, it's
Oh,
another 90s icon to us,
he
I
is,
think that's
he is.
amazing. Like that's fantastic. Some people, they only write hits, right? Wow, that's incredible. Good for you, living your best 90s life and 2024 life. That is
Yeah.
incredible. So I
Yeah.
guess I was gonna say I would ask what your favorite memory on set was, but I think that's got to be the one. I mean, if that ain't it.
Yeah, anything with Austin. Although at that point, Marla and I were already best friends. So we had a blast. Same with Larissa. I mean, there were so many like beautiful moments on that film. It's hard to pinpoint one, but yeah, we had a great
Aw.
time. Very coming of age for us as well,
Aw. Well,
Yeah.
I do, of course, we have a live chat, so I do want to encourage everyone that's in the live chat to hit us with your questions, hit Natanya with your questions, and also tell us your Babysitters Club stories, how this franchise came into your lives. I see Angie Saunders in the live chat so far, the Mashup Genius herself, Whiskey41, Alex Bonafonte, Gold's Code, the great Sean Gold, Caitlin Allman, America's Next Top Model, and Ian Klink in the chat so far tonight. Wow.
Nice.
The Klinkster, he's been beckoned away by Broadway, but he's not going to miss this live chat. So thank you so much for tuning in, buddy. Angie Saunders, as per usual, has not seen this movie, but she did read the books. Gold's Code says, finally some star power on this show. The show is full of no talent hacks. Let's hear it for Ian not being here and being replaced by a real star. So Gold's Code loves to razz us in the chat.
Love
I
you.
love this.
I love you, Gold's Code. Thank you. I love you. You made my whole night better.
Oh man. So Gold's Code says, okay, I will.
Gold's Code. I don't know what your real name is, but if you follow me on Instagram, DM me. And that way I can know your actual name, and I'll send you an 8x10 or something. Just DM me your address, and I'll get that done.
Aw, I'll
There
spoil
you
it for you.
go.
His name is Sean Gold.
Sean!
He's a frequent contributor of VCR
Okay.
Redux, and in the second half hour, I promise you, he will pitch something that involves the Babysitters Club and rollerblades. Spoiler
Hey,
alert.
okay.
But
Well,
that's-
make sure to DM me your address. I'd love to send you something. And if there's a favorite project of mine, tell me, and I'll send you a photo from that project.
Aw, everyone in the chat now making fun of Sean for fanboying, but he says he will open up. He saw the movie and the show because all these girls were the girls we liked when we were 10. We were going on 10 and we wanted to be cool. I could, vouch for that. There's a lot of 90s crushes in this movie for sure.
Yeah.
But Ian Klink also says, hey, everyone, so amazing Natanya could join us tonight. Missed you all and look forward to being back on next week. So thank you, Professor Klink. We miss you too, sir. So like I said, like everyone else, I think I was a little too old for this. This was like a 6th grade, after school kind of movie. But this was like just coming to that age where like girls are giving you notes and like stuff like that. So this I really do relate to a lot of what's going on in this movie. And also, watching it again, I think this movie may have somehow birthed the whole flat Earth conspiracy because of the line like the Earth must be flat, and I'm like, oh my God, no, don't don't give anyone ideas. 1990s, what are you doing? But I've just loved this movie ever since, and I kind of I always say like my favorite, my movie collection is as tough as I am. Because I'm obsessed with movies like Beaches, and just like any sort of girl power 90s movie is like way up my alley. Like that's my comfort food, nothing feels like
chicken soup for the soul. Chicken soup for the soul.
Couldn't have said it better myself. But Gold Code also, how is Mr. Feeney off camera? Babysitters Club was whack. All my crushes like Sweet Valley High. Oh man, I forgot about Sweet Valley High. Wow.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, I liked them more than I liked the Babysitters Club too. So fair enough.
Was that like the difference between Fear Street and Goosebumps or something? Like yeah, I'm kind of having a little bit of a blank spot of Sweet Valley High. I remember it, but
it was very mature. It was a lot more mature than Babysitters Club. Babysitters Club was for young tweens, and Sweet Valley High was a little more mature, I think.
Like the biggest thing was the 17-year-old.
Yeah. Oh my God, the subject matter.
Yeah, I know. Like you watch it now, and you're just like, wow.
Christy's father basically kidnapping her on a daily basis, and the mom just being like, the nerve of that guy. My mother would have been on her way to his house to kill him with the FBI involved, and she's like. Oh my God.
Yeah, Department of Child Protective Services would be all over this dad. Like this dad would be waterboarded in Guantanamo Bay. Like, it's so ridiculous. Like even when I love I absolutely love this movie, but you gotta laugh at the movies you love. And even when I was 10 or whatever, 11, I was like, oh, she's having an affair with her dad. That's how they play this a little bit. Like,
it's definitely not an Oscar award-winning film by any means.
No,
I think it served its purpose, and it's it's really held up over the last 30 years. People are still
really has.
It has, yeah.
That's with this movie. It's a cult classic, and I feel very fortunate to have most of my career in the 90s are all very cult classic films or television shows.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
for sure.
Like,
it's impressive.
still to-
It's just riddled
still
with
to
hits. Yeah.
Hey, it's pretty crazy. Yeah. So, yeah.
Wow.
I still
So
think Freaky Friday is still my favorite. Freaky Friday is still my favorite.
Thank you. Yeah, that was it. And I did that one with. That's the one I did with
Yeah,
Marla,
that's
right?
the Melanie Myron one.
Mhm.
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
gonna ask you which one you filmed first, and I was like, she looks a little
Babysitters.
younger.
Oh no, I'm
in
sorry.
Freaky
Freaky
Friday.
Friday. We did Freaky Friday first.
Okay, I was gonna say you looked a little bit younger in that one, and so did Marla. So it was
Yeah.
just, but I think Babysitters Club came out first. I'm not sure.
No, Freaky Friday came out first, and then it was Babysitters. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So do you ever go back and rewatch this on like cable or streaming, or is it the type of thing where you get invited to like events or screenings, then you kind of have to just watch it then, or is it not, do you not revisit your old work that often?
Not really.
Not really.
Not for any specific reason. It would feel. Think it would feel weird for me to just sit here and be like, hey, I think I'm gonna just put on like second season of Alex Mack. You know, that like feels odd to me.
That would be
So,
very Norma Desmond of you.
did you meet the code man when you were on Step by Step? I don't know. Maybe.
Oh.
Remember, I was 11. I'm 43 now. Cut me some slack. Probably I met the code man. Thank you for asking. I loved doing Step by Step. I watch the stuff that I get tagged in online, and I get tagged every single day. There's really not a day that goes by, truly, that someone's not tagging me in a photo, a video clip, of something that I was in. So that's been really cool. I've been able to go back and rewatch in that way. I have a lot of fans that are like super, super dedicated to not just Alex Mack, but like Robin as the character, you know? So,
Yeah.
As they should.
as they should. I have a fan who actually based her entire curriculum around Robin Russo.
Wow.
It's crazy. So like she'll take like different photos of like all the, because like I'm known kind of for like all the expressions and stuff that I make in the show, and then she'll put them on a board because it's for special needs kids. She's really an amazing person. And then she'll be like, point to which Robin you're feeling like today. So
Oh,
really,
nice.
yeah, it's really special. The show, I mean, Babysitters Club too, of course, but I would say Alex Mack is more of a a phenomenon still to this day. You know, it's pretty crazy. So, yeah.
Like I said, there's a lot of, you see the step-by-step fans already going off on a whole tangent in the live chat. And also Whiskey 41 saying
Yeah.
43 looks 23,
God
to which
bless
we all concur.
Whiskey 41. You can go ahead and DM me and I'll send you a picture as well.
Aw. Whiskey 41, another
appreciate that.
longtime watcher of the show. He will probably pitch something that might involve Steven Seagal later and the Babysitters Club. So be forewarned.
Cool.
So one thing I appreciated rewatching the movie now that I think was a little bit lost on me as a kid was just how deep some of the older cast is in this movie too. Like you've got Harris Yulin, you've got Ellen Burstyn, you've got Colleen Camp. Was that something you were kind of aware of as a kid, or were they just like, oh, they're just grown-ups, like grown-ups and everything?
Ellen Burstyn, I knew she was a really big deal. I knew Peter was a really big deal.
Yeah, Peter Horton was hot back then, for sure.
Yeah, he was on 30 something with Melanie Mayron. Melanie Mayron was on 30 something.
Yeah.
So
yeah, she was.
Yeah. I knew who I mean, not an adult, but obviously we all knew who Austin was because My Girl 2 had just come out right before, and I was like, oh my God, this guy's in the film. And Andrew Keegan was actually supposed to play that role because Andrew Keegan was in Freaky Friday with us. So that was like supposed to be in the can too, and then he last minute didn't get it, and Austin got it, which obviously worked out in my favor. But so I knew he was in it, and then as far as some of the other adults, the kids were pretty separated from the adults. We were young. We were like anywhere from, the youngest kid on set I think was like 4 years old to 15 probably at the oldest. So they didn't really have much desire to hang out with us, really. Weren't like,
also just from a practicality, like scheduling, like the adults have one day here or one day there, I would imagine. So,
yeah, they tried to film everything to where it made sense. So when we had all of the camp scenes, and there were obviously adults in the camp, you know, they tried to they're smart. I mean, I'm just an actor. I'm just a dumb actor. I don't know how all that works with the figuring out who's filming on what day. I don't know. I just get a call sheet and show up. But yeah, I definitely knew Ellen Burstyn was a big fucking deal. That I knew.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's I probably would have it all would have been lost on me as a kid. I wouldn't have had any idea. And if you would have been like, yo, Colleen Camp was in Clue, then I would have been like, oh my God, Clue? Like, but that's like
I didn't even
my
know that.
name.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, I've always been bad with names, but that's the thing. I was like, oh my God, it's the teacher from this thing.
so
And that
strange. That's so
Yeah.
weird. Nate literally asked me last night. He was like, "Do you want to watch Clue?" And I was like, "No, I don't want to watch Clue. That's no."
I
But
love
now I
That's
now I guess
That's
I
a
need
great
to watch
movie.
Clue. I'll let him
Oh.
know that
It's
you
a
guys
great movie.
Natanya,
Great movie.
It's a
the
great
perfect
movie.
rainy night movie. Seriously, if it's raining
The
out,
great
throw it on.
Jonathan Lynn, who would give us My Cousin Vinny later in life. It's a
Wow.
solid flick, you know.
Okay. I
And
will.
Tim Curry.
Oh, and Tim Curry actually.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Bobby
also
probably knows.
I do.
I did a television show with him when I was 16, and he played my like stepdad. So yeah,
how did I miss this?
now that because it was only one season. Now that I knew it was one season, I ended up getting replaced, which sucks. By
Wasn't
Marla.
wait,
By Marla.
wasn't Andy
Marla
Potts
replaced
the
you.
mom?
Wow.
Marla replaced me. Yeah, that was a hard hit because we were
What?
like at that time I mean, we had been best friends since we were 13 years old. So that was tough, but we got through that. Got canceled. I was like, huh, but anyway, I'll never forget the 2 weeks I spent with Tim Curry. He was, I mean, and I was beyond aware of how iconic he was because I had been obsessed with Rocky Horror since I was, way too young to even know what it was about. So yeah, looking back, I've really like definitely worked with some incredible folks for sure.
Wow. I'm like speechless. I'm just like blown away from this right now. Like that's incredible.
If you Google it, I think like in my Google image searches, if you go down enough, you'll see the promo shot of me and him. It's up
Wait
there.
a minute. Wait a minute. Wasn't Annie Potts the mom?
Annie Potts played my
Yeah.
mom. Yeah.
Okay, yes.
Yeah,
I knew that
this
would
is
blow
my kind of
Chris's
jam
mind.
right
I
here.
knew that would blow Chris's mind. Even more so.
Not to circle back on, the role that, you got replaced by Marla, but
That's okay.
one thing that actors have told me time and again is that throughout their career, they were always testing against the same 2 or 3 other actors of their age, of their peer
Yeah.
group. So I mean, if you don't want to say, but was Marla one of those people that like, oh, every time I went up for a role, it came down to like me, her, and like 2 other people?
No,
No.
it
Okay.
was never Marla really. I'm sure we auditioned for a lot of the same stuff, but it was never Marla. I can't even remember. Like if I have to think back, I
Okay.
can't even remember. And I hit a certain point too where like, I was very lucky and I didn't really have to go in there and audition against a bunch of other girls. And I either just got offers or, it was straight to the very, very, very end. And sometimes I didn't even really know. Like the very first show I did, it was between me and Brittany Murphy, RIP. She was the sweetest, kindest soul in the
Yeah.
world. There's a few I remember like that, but yeah, I don't fully remember. Larissa and I went up against each other a lot, actually.
That makes sense. I mean,
Yeah.
I just assumed that like everyone probably like especially in the the bad girl crew, if you want to call it, in this movie.
Yeah.
I figured they all probably tried out for Marla's role in this. Like when I watched it, I was like, oh yeah, they all probably read that. Even if they weren't trying out for it, they just had them read those lines or something, it's sides prepared, I would think. But yeah, in this case, you guys didn't have to do that, of course.
Yeah.
But we are past the half-hour point, so this is your first time on VCR Redux, and a big part of the show is we kind of spitball sequel ideas to some of our favorite movies. And obviously, with you on here for the Babysitters Club, the audience didn't wait for us, and there already are a few pitches in the live chat. So what better place to start? Alex Bonafonte, the Great Whiskey 4-1, his pitch. Have you checked the kitchen? Whispers an evil voice caller as a babysitter is stalked by an oily figure donning black, relaxed fit clothing. Steven Seagal hunts in the Babysitters Club sandwich, or Steven Seagal is hunts the Babysitters Club sandwich. Okay, that you lost me a little bit on the sandwich part,
The
but
sandwich.
Steven Seagal sounds like he's never too far from his next sandwich, so I think it's plausible. If you offer him enough sandwiches, he just might do it. He also has another pitch. His second pitch, the babysitters get more enterprising and set up shop in Cincinnati and teach their clients' kids rollerblading when the apocalypse strikes in the Airborne Solar Babysitters Club. Oh, advanced mashup in the live chat tonight. So
wait a minute. Whiskey 4-1 did that one?
Whiskey 4-1 did that one too, yeah. Are you familiar with the film
He beat
Solar
Gold's
Babies?
Cold to the punch?
He beat Gold. Yeah, Gold's Code will probably get him back for that, I think, at some point.
Oh, come
Oh
on,
my
Goldie.
god.
Stay golden. Stay golden.
There's a turf war going on in our live chat right now. Good Lord. So are you familiar with the movie Solar Babies, by the way? If not, it's Jamie Gertz, Jason Patrick, Lucas Haas in a 1985 roller skating space dramedy, I guess you would call it. It's the 80s were an amazing time too, folks.
It's a great mashup. Great mashup.
That is a great mashup. Another pitch though in the live chat. Rand with, hey, the greatest crossover be the Babysitters Club with Sweet Valley High on a football game in Dawson's Creek, just down the road from Riverdale, all set on a Friday night with Michael J. Fox as the mayor in the town. And the coach of Sweet Valley High being Steven Seagal. The bet of the game is to open a roller coaster in this town to bring people in to have the guy in the van from Step by Step be the land deal guy. So that's a Cousin Cody reference there as well. So they're pulling out all your hits here. I'm sorry if the incessant fanboying. But
Okay.
Gold's Code relentless with it. Just asks, whoa, how is Tim Curry off camera? So,
Amazing. I'll never forget it.
I would suspect Tim Curry to be nothing less than amazing. I find that not surprising at all. G. Saunders, it's cool you didn't turn out batshit crazy like most young stars did. I don't know about most, but
I did for a long time. I'm sober 16 years, so I don't know what that tells you, but I definitely did not escape that stigma of child.
But honestly, Natanya,
But
you're a shining example of a success story, honestly.
Thank you, babe. Thank you.
Like the second you're the philanthropy, like you really are holding down the fort for like all the stuff you believe in, and like I love to see it. I love to see you and Nate. You're so cute together. Upgrade. I love it.
Total, 90s power couple, like just
Thank you.
So cute, so awesome.
Yeah, people flipped out over that one. That one got everybody for sure.
That definitely, that hits us all in the feels, and we'd love to see it. Gold's Code now with his pitch, though. The BSC is needed in Ohio when a downhill race takes all the older kids away, only for them to get swept up into the antics of Mitchell versus the Preps. It's Babyborn. So we have competing airborne tie-in pitches in the live chat, folks. This is a first time for us, I believe. And Kyle in the chat says, congrats on 16 years. So
What
I
would
actually,
be cool, Chris, what would be cool? Think about this though. Swan's Crossing. You got Mitchell.
Love
Swan's Crossing is classic 90s too. That is a deep 90s cut. I love that. The Babysitters Crossing that we have, the Swans. Yeah. Oh, there's definitely something there. It's a clever play on words for a title too, I'm sure. So I was thinking about this when rewatching it. I honestly, not to sound like too ham or whatever, but I kind of want to see like the bad girl story, whether it was something that I wish happened like a year or two later, or even now, like catching up. Like I want to see if those girls stayed friends or if they ever bump back into each other, or I'm like, the odds are.
I kind of feel like they would still be
slim.
they would still be friends, but I also kind of feel like they would be babysitters.
or they would be, you know, parents to kids getting babysat or something. You know, there's
Yeah.
like there's got to be a universe, like a John Hughes universe where it all ties in. You know, Babysitters Club, No Way Home, get the TV show and the movie, and just get everyone together. You know, but you know, it's one of those things where like the nostalgia factor is so high that like we do this a lot on the show where we pitch like the time travel sequel, and like I always wonder like what that would have looked like if there was another one of these in like 96 or 97, and like they're just like, Melanie, get back, you know, get the gang back together, let's do another one of these. Because there were certainly a lot of franchises that did that in the 90s, and even into the 2000s. I mean, like, how many Airbuds do we have now?
Right.
You know,
Right. Can I,
like, I
can
kind
I
of
ask a question? I think I see a 90s con photo behind you, Mickey. Am I seeing that right on your bookshelf?
This one?
Yeah, is that 90s con?
No, that's actually Monster Mania where I met Ralph Macchio.
Oh, it looks like the 90s con backdrop. Okay. Ralph Macchio, I love him.
I'm a huge Karate Kid fan. Ralph
Yep.
Ralph was the highlight.
So I will say about 90s con, that is one I get pretty severe FOMO for. I went to like the first
Yeah.
one, I think, in Connecticut, and I just haven't been able to make it back. And like I'm always like, oh man, I really missed out on that one. Like, oh man, I really missed out on that one. But honestly, I, you know, not to call out names or anything, but seeing it, I won't use names, but there was a film reunion that had a photo op, and the stars were completely blocked behind a wall of boxes, and the people in the photo with them couldn't see them at all. Bobby knows what I'm talking about. I'll mention it when we're not live. And if you do your research, people, you'll figure it out. But two of
Wait,
my
I
favorite.
don't understand. The photo op was.
So
It was
basically,
on the screen.
so it was like you're almost like in two separate rooms, and they just take a really wide picture, and you don't even get to see or
You don't
interact
get to
with
see them or
with
say hello. You just.
yeah,
I
nothing.
understand. Oh, that sucks. Yeah. Will you tell me when we turn
Of
the
course, yes. I don't want to call them out on
I
air, but
You can
yes,
ask,
yes.
you can, how about this? If you tell me, you can ask me one like real, like juicy, I want the tea question, and I'll answer it. Because most likely, no matter who you ask me about, I'll have a great story about them. Bobby
Oh
knows.
man,
Bobby,
I can imagine. Yeah,
Bobby
I mean,
knows
like,
Bobby knows I'm not. I don't write a check that I can't cash. So
well, there's no
you
way
tell me,
you
I'll
were
tell
in.
you, and it'll
There's no
stay
way.
a circle
Oh,
of trust. Okay.
I love it. I am in the circle of trust. I love it. And I'm drooling because I know there's no way you were in like every 90s hit property without some fucking stories, right? That just doesn't happen. Like that would be impossible. So,
Don't forget. Sorry, I'm vaping. If there's any kids.
oh, not a problem at all. I just
vape.
quit vaping like 6 months ago. So
You're gonna
vape
have
all you
to
want, you
D-
know.
You're gonna have to DM me how you did it because it's an impossible thing to quit. But if there's any
I will spill
minors
the tea on that.
watching, do not vape. I don't endorse it. It's disgusting. It's horrible. But I was a long time cigarette smoker, which is way, way, way worse. So
But it helped me quit.
gonna
It
give
helped
you-
me quit. Yeah.
I know we're on a time crunch, but I'm gonna give you just a really brief story. I think Bobby probably knows the best only because him and I are friends and he has seen everything that's happened in my life on my Instagram. So how do I even say this? I was getting married. It was 2 years ago on 11/11, which was what, Monday or Tuesday. And so like 6 months
Monday.
before the wedding, I'm losing my mind. I'm like, how the fuck am I gonna pay for all this shit? Blah, blah, blah. And I had quit vaping for years, and I was just on the Nicorette gum because I'll never give up nicotine altogether. I need something. When you can't drink or do drugs, you gotta have something.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm just gonna get one vape, and that's it. I got one vape, smoked all the way through the wedding, and then like we were married, and I'm like, I'm gonna quit soon. And then like, I don't know, 5 or 6 months into my marriage, I found out my husband had a little girlfriend on the side.
Oof.
And my
Oh my God,
my
no.
NDA is expired. So
Oh, there you go.
Oh man.
and I haven't quit since, which sucks. But listen, it's just a really beautiful lesson. I do want to I never like to say anything like heavy and and depressive without giving some sort of like positive message to it. But if you really, really, really can find a way to tap into the universe and understand that like nothing happens by mistake ever, even at the worst of it, um, I wouldn't be with Nate now if he hadn't had an affair, multiple girlfriends, how God knows however many.
Oh my God, jeez.
I would probably be in a loveless, um, lonely
Yeah.
marriage for the rest of my life with a man that was cheating on me. He was a musician, semi well-known musician on the road all the time. So I'd be in a horrible, horrible marriage. So I don't know why the fuck that just came out of me over vaping. I guess I was meant to tell that story.
But girl, you
Oh, yeah.
upgraded this
No,
whole
yeah.
time.
Oh,
This whole
100%.
time I was like,
But this was a glow up. This was a glow
Yeah.
up. Well,
fucking
Love that.
I lost
up.
70 pounds. And I live in LA. I've got good doctors. And yeah, it was a glow up. It was a, level up in 10 million different ways. He was not deserving of me at all. And also I like to, Bobby, anyone that follows me on Instagram knows my whole brand is one, the coolest thing you can be in this lifetime is to be kind. I think
For
especially after
sure.
everything we went through last week, God, that isn't more prevalent ever than right now. I did a whole post on my Instagram about it, lost 2,000 followers instantly. I was like,
Mm,
good,
I'm
go,
sure.
please get out of here, please
Good
go.
riddance. Goodbye.
See ya. So nothing cooler than being kind. And for the women, I want to empower them that, as soon as I found that out, it was like, go then, go
Yeah.
then, that's okay, go. It
Yeah.
was the worst thing I've ever been through in my life. And it was messy and ugly and gross and just filthy. He was filthy, but thank God. And the one thing I knew the whole time is that I could never be with a man that ever cheated, and I really want to empower women to know their worth and their value. And shit happens. Humans are not perfect. I wish nothing bad on him. I hope him and the girl are together. I hope they have a beautiful life. I hope neither one of them do that to each other. But for me, I was like, I wasn't begging, please come back, please. It wasn't like that. So,
Oh,
please know who you are as a person. And if you don't, you can do that through therapy. You can do it through support groups. You can do it through your friends. You deserve not just women, men. You deserve everything in the whole wide world. You just got to know
oh,
who you are.
For
You got to
sure.
know who you are and who the fuck you want to be in this world. And
oh,
I'm a lot of things. I'm not perfect, but I'm definitely like not a bitch you're gonna cheat on and then think you're gonna stay with.
oh. Well, thank
So
you.
there
I
you
mean, thank
go.
you so
I don't
much
know where
for.
we transitioned from that.
Well,
Jesus,
I'll do my
over
best. Yeah,
that. I'm
thank you so
sorry.
much for being
Woo!
so candid and so
Yeah, yeah,
empowering.
yeah.
I will say the fans though they'll throw me a little bit of a lifeline here because I see a lot of them asking about little monsters in the live chat. So if there's
God.
anything you could tell us about Snick and Maurice, I think they're dying to know.
You guys, I did that when I was like 5 years old. I have no idea. What I will tell you though is that almost every autograph signing I do, somebody brings a Little Monsters DVD or photo or something. They sometimes they sell more than regular. I mean, it's crazy. People still. I mean, I was in it for like I was like the little kid that went like this. Like that's it. That's all I
And you
did.
you worked with both the
That's enough.
Savages.
Yeah.
Did I? They weren't even there. I don't know where the fuck they were. I didn't. I mean, I ended up later on in life. Ben ended up being one of my best friends for quite a while, and we like had a little, whatever
Mm.
on and off. And after I did Boy Meets World, so him and I became very close for multiple years. So that was funny. Like later on, when I when I was like, I was in Little Monsters, but he does. He, I mean, I was like 5 years old. Who remembers that shit? I don't remember.
I
For
always love
sure.
seeing that stuff though. It's like years before they got married, Charlie Sheen and Denise Richards were both in a movie called National Lampoon's Loaded Weapon 1. And I know at some point, at the end of the day, they're like, "You were in that fucking thing? Like I was in that too." Like, and I love that movie. I've used any excuse to bring that movie up on this show.
It was
But
worse than I'm gonna read a couple.
a
You
lot
did
of people, yeah, in the chat just,
there's a
saying
lot
that
going
you,
it's popping.
yeah.
Okay, let's see. Get the Snick and Maurice. Nino said Snick and Maurice. I don't know what that
So
means.
some of the characters
Oh, got it.
from
Okay.
Little Monsters, yeah.
That's
So
so
they'll
cute.
a lifeline there.
Wow. Gold Code, get the BCS together for revenge. Yeah, I like that.
I like that.
Nothing
Also asking
worse
about
than
Beverly Hills
them.
90210.
Oh my God, that was
Oh
like
my God, Natanya, that story
Yeah.
is crazy, and I'm
Oh
so
gosh, if
glad-
we wandered into a rough story, I apologize. I just,
no, it's a
No,
crazy
it's not.
story. Angie, yes, I do cons. I do a lot of them. I'm all over the place. So if you just follow me on Instagram, I post about them pretty as in advance as I can. So yes, I travel the country and I do quite a few a year. So I hope to meet you and see you at one. And what was the question? The Beverly Hills 90210. I think what Bobby's referring to is that they paid me an incredible amount of money. Is that what you're talking about? To cut all my hair off and dye it black. Yeah.
Wow.
Because we tried on a lot of different wigs and it just didn't look right. And they said, well, can she cut off all her hair and dye it like jet black? And I'd had this signature red hair for so long. And then we saw the number they were offering and I'm like, cut that shit off. Let's go.
Who's got the
So,
dye? Who's got the dye?
who's got the hair dye. So
So was that was a little bit
all
one of the
about,
kind of
like,
later seasons, I believe, right?
it was yeah, like the second to last season, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm due for a rewatch on that. That's one that I hate the music changes on the DVDs. I wish it still had all the authentic 90s music, but
it
I
did.
still yeah, they had to change a lot. I mean, that happens to a lot of shows and they don't even really advertise it. They keep it a secret that because if you
Yeah,
remember, I
they did it
mean,
with
that
Daria.
every week
They
now
did it with
2 had
Daria.
like the hottest song, whatever was hit in the country
Right.
was going to be on the show that week. And
Right.
you can really mark the time. It's such a great 90s time capsule. And so many of your, so many of your projects went on to become such great 90s time capsules. I'm curious, is there a project that kind of keeps coming back, or that like the one that surprises you the most that people still like, are so, that people love so much?
I mean, probably Alex Mack, really.
That's a surprise though. Like I mean, that was
Um,
huge. That was such a big deal, that show.
yeah, I think it's just a surprise that it's held up so long after 30 years, especially since we got kind of snubbed from like when every Nickelodeon show got put on Paramount and
Yeah.
every show, all seasons are available to buy on Amazon and ours only has 2 seasons available. We got snubbed a lot. Nickelodeon never gave us a reunion, so me and a couple cast members had to like write, produce, and pay for it ourselves. So
Wow.
yeah, I guess
Man.
you're right. It was a huge show. It was #1 kids show for like years and years and years. And that, I mean, I'm trying to think of something else. Sometimes Shadow Zone Undead Express. It's this really weird movie I did. It was a Wes Craven movie in Canada when I was 16 with Chauncey Leopardi, who played Squints in The Sandlot.
Yeah.
That people talk about that one a lot. So that one definitely surprises me for sure.
Wow. Squints in
Yeah,
the
I don't know.
Sandlot. I'm getting flashbacks to him in House Guest now too. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
He was everywhere. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't. I mean, I forget some of the stuff I was in, even so. I don't know.
I could totally imagine that. Yeah, of course.
I
I
don't
mean, who
know.
can remember everything they did
I'm
30 years ago? You
Yeah, I'm
know?
surprised that all of these have held up. So yeah, I don't know.
Oh man, well, believe me, they've all held up for us. So I know there was, there's more now 2-0 questions. I won't, beat you over the head with those. Of course, Gold's Code has to know about Baywatch though.
Baywatch. What do you want to know? I don't know. I was on it. Gold Code. Whoa, you know Squints? Here's another fun fact. I dated him when I did that movie too in Canada.
What? Oh my God, holy cow.
Good old
Wow.
The
Squints.
roster is so impressive. The roster is so impressive.
Oh, I mean, it's not. You've heard nothing. Nate's at the top of the list, obviously, but
Of course.
you've heard nothing yet. That's That's
I
nothing.
haven't heard anything.
So is I
Comparison
meant,
to
you
the
know,
guys I've dated, no, that's nothing.
now
But he wanted to know about Baywatch. Is that what we were talking about?
yes,
Oh
and he's
no.
also
And then
demanding
I
that you
saw this.
become a regular host of this show. So,
Squints. Yeah, okay, we got through Chauncey. Baywatch. Baywatch was cool. Baywatch was awesome. I did two episodes. Yeah, it was a 2 episode arc. It was one of their main characters that had been on the show forever dies. So they kind of like they made it a really big thing for her. And I just happened to be on the boat with them when it shipwrecked and she dies. So it was me and like 4 other kids. And it was supposed to be like this well, I don't know, did you see the episode? I don't know if I need to explain the whole episode, but it was awesome. That was crazy because you're filming in the middle of the ocean on this like huge yacht and everyone's seasick, and yeah, it was a really wild experience.
yeah. Another like culturally defining 90s show. Like if I only had like 30 seconds to explain what the 90s was, I would be like Baywatch, now 2-0, Boys World, like
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
like in rapid speed. Baywatch is absolutely one of those things. Like if you want to know what the mid 90s were like, folks, watch Baywatch.
Or I would say probably Boy Meets World would be what I would say.
For sure.
Yeah.
Boy Meets
That's true,
World
yeah.
is like
I think it's mid late. Yeah, I guess it was. I feel like Boy Meets World got a little bit bigger every year. Maybe I don't know. That's
anything
does that make
ABC
sense?
TGIF. Anything
Yeah.
ABC TGIF
Yeah.
was like hot too.
That's true.
Yeah. Or I mean, I would even say Sabrina was probably
sure.
one of the defining shows of the 90s. I mean, I'd like to say my own show
Yeah.
is one of the defining shows of the 90s as well. And we got more and more popular every year as well. So yeah, there's a
Yeah.
lot. But yes, if I think of the 90s, I'm thinking 90210 for sure. Or
Oh,
Melrose
100%.
Place or whatever. Yeah.
Oh God, Melrose Place, man. That's now I'm really getting flashbacks here to like 90s. I love how like my mom would always just plan 90s, dinners around whatever she wanted to watch. So it was like Roseanne on this night, 90210 on that night, and
You're bringing up so much shit right now. Nate and I just did a full rewatch of Roseanne. It was the most comforting, beautiful thing. I was so sad that it was over. We went all the way from the pilot to where it was like DJ was like a different cat, like a different child.
Yeah.
The end of the Connors, like after Roseanne got
Oh
fired,
wow.
and then all the way through the Connors, and I was so bummed that we were through it. To be honest, and I don't like to talk about politics. I think I've made it clear with my statement that I put out on Instagram what side I'm on, and it's not even about that, but I was really bummed that we didn't have that to watch because it's such a comfort show.
Oh
And
man, yeah.
I was like, what is another show? Maybe you guys can help us. What is another show in the 90s that's like Roseanne? I thought Married with Children, but it just doesn't have as much heart as Roseanne in the sense that Roseanne was so real. It was about like a real family. It was fun. It was super funny, of
I'll
course.
tell you, I grew up in the Midwest.
Give me one.
In Illinois, and
Give me
that
one.
is more real than I can
Oh.
ever tell you.
Well,
Roseanne
I know.
they nailed it. They really nailed it.
Nate says the same thing because he's from Minnesota, and he was like, "Yeah, this is
Okay.
it. This is literally it." So now, what do we watch? Do you guys have a suggestion? We
Oh
need
God, I mean, for 90s stuff, I'm trying to think of things you weren't in. It's tough.
something I'm not in, please. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah,
I-
definitely. I
What
just gotta
were
go through the archives over here. I'm sure I can find
Send
something
me a
for you.
text. Give me like a list. I need a text, please.
it's not 90s, but I
Tanya
would
Ross
think,
for president?
is that like,
No offense, but I might do a better job.
oh, you got my vote,
My
100%.
first
Yes,
policy
please.
would be free Botox for everybody.
I'm with her. That's all I needed to hear.
Free Botox, free filler, whatever.
We're not going back. We're not
Yeah,
going
you
back,
have
except
to
for our
pay
faces.
rent.
Our faces are going back.
Exactly. You don't have to go to work. You don't have to pay rent. All you have to do is like sit around and watch Natanya Ross shows all day long.
The universal
Nice.
Botox income.
Be
I
great.
love this.
Oh
I
my
love
God,
this.
how funny. Gold code, you are hilarious. Okay, Rand, it was the wife role of Huff role on Baywatch. Give us some Ben Savage stuff. I can.
Yeah, well, he's gonna try. You know, poor
Wish I
Goldscone.
could.
I would say though, if you're looking for 90s, might not be 90s, but old school Degrassi. If you ever
Next
were a Degrassi
Generation.
fan, yeah, not the
Degrassi
next
Next
gen, but
Generation.
Yeah,
the
well, I've
80s,
seen every
80s
episode.
Degrassi.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
that's no good there. Party of Five.
Party of Five's good.
Yeah, it was
Smallville.
good. It wasn't that.
Smallville's in that area too.
Yeah, those weren't real. I mean, Dawson's Creek I was obsessed with, but I
Creek
was
was
I was
great.
very edgy, like Melrose Place, 90210, My So-Called Life. I was into the like much edgier shows, more adult content.
Maybe maybe you
Buffy the
missed some of
Vampire
the great.
Slayer?
Buffy loved what?
Maybe
Skins. The British TV show Skins.
A long time ago. Yeah.
Ooh, I got it. Great 90s show.
Tell me.
Dream On. HBO's
Dream
Dream
On.
On with
Dream
Brian
On.
Benden, Chris
with the-
Dimitro.
Yes, that is a great show, actually. Wow.
That's a
I
really good one. It's
forgot
kind of
about
hard
that.
to find on streaming. There's a couple DVDs out there. I actually had to buy a bootleg version of it. But that's a great 90s nostalgia piece
That
for
is.
sure. Aired on Comedy
Right.
Central forever. And that's one that's kind of held up because of rights and like, 'cause they use all those old film clips. So,
Yeah.
it used to be that like MCA Universal was like, you know, played nice with HBO, and now they totally don't because it's like Time
Right.
Warner HBO, and it's like, we'll probably never get those on disc, but I'm sure they're out there in the streaming verse somewhere. So and just like somewhere out there is the perfect Babysitters Club 2 sequel. I don't know if we stumbled upon it tonight. We all kind of fanned out a little bit too hard, but we at least did get an Airborne pitch and a Steven Seagal pitch in there. But before we
sure.
wrap it up, do you have any conventions or anything coming up or any upcoming projects you want to let the people at home know about, Natanya?
I don't have any signings coming up right now. I'm trying to think. No, there's nothing coming up right now. There might be something in December. We're kind of working it out right now, so I'll announce that as soon as I can. And yeah, I mean, just auditioning and, doing the autograph shows when I get them and hanging out and, doing all my little photo shoots that I love to do. And that's it.
Oh man, that's so
And
cool.
also, I work in treatment. I should say it's not like that's it. I work in treatment. I help people that are suffering with drugs and alcohol get into treatment. And like Bobby so generously said about me, which means a lot, I do try to do as much as I can for the community. And I've been focused mainly on the homeless communities of Los Angeles for the last 10 years. And I'm geared now towards LGBTQI plus questioning youth, specifically trans youth. So that's where my efforts are going to be going this year, especially after last week. That solidified it for me. My brain is always just like, what do we do this year? And I was like, should I do, elderly abuse or this? There's so many things that need attention and help. And if you have any kind of a platform, you should be speaking out about what you believe in. And I feel very passionately about the LGBTQ community. I've been an ally for as long as I can remember. Most of my best friends are queer. Some of my family members are trans. So yeah, that's
Well,
where
you
I'm
are
at here.
you are just reaching hero status like higher and higher the more you keep
No,
talking. So
I'm
seriously,
not.
like
I'm really not. I promise I'm
you
not.
are like we are not worthy. Like thank you so much for everything that you do. Yeah, like if
What, babe?
anyone,
I said
What,
you're the
Bobby?
second coming of Dolly Parton.
Oh, I just have to I just have to make my boobs bigger, and then maybe we can make that happen. Yeah.
well, before we get to all that, I guess it's time for me to say that you Fandom fans might want to tune in next Wednesday at 9 p.m. when we talk about, or excuse me, when Ian talks about how good his coffee is for our Pulp Fiction episode. As always, if you enjoyed this video, the best way to help is to smash that like button and leave a comment telling us what movie or TV franchise that you want us to cover on a future episode of VCR Redux. And since you're already doing that, you might as well go ahead and like, subscribe, and follow Fandom, Spotlight, and Pop Culture Punk. Till then, back up those Betamax, rewind those Laserdiscs, and we'll see you at the movies.